Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing the relationship between bond prices and interest rates. Bond prices and interest rates must move in opposite direction. You can see in this graph, we have bond prices in the vertical axis and interest rates in the horizontal axis. And these curves, this blue and the yellow curve shows the relationship between bond prices and interest rates. And in both cases, you can see that they are downward sloping, indicating inverse relationship. The yield to maturity, our measure of interest rate on a bond, is defined as the discount rate that explains the bond price. So when bond prices falls, interest rate or YTM rises. That means when YTM rises, bond prices must fall. So in the case of this yellow line, you can see it shows the value of a 4.25% bond. I mean, it's a 4.25% bond. And it shows the relationship between the prices and at the different YTMs. Okay. So you can see that as yield to maturity falls from, like if you move from right to left, as yield to maturity falls, the bond prices increases. When the annual yield is equal to the coupon rate, so it's 4.25% is the yield to maturity and coupon rate is also 4.25%, you can see that in that case the bond will be sold at a price exactly equals to its face value. Okay. On the other hand, if the YTM, this is YTM, is greater than the coupon rate, or in other words, we can say that when the coupon rate is less than the YTM, then you can see that bond is sold at a price less than the face value. That means the bond is sold at a discount. On the other hand, if coupon rate is, you know that coupon rate is 4.25%. If coupon rate is higher than the YTM, here you can see that YTM is lower and coupon rate is 4.25%. So as coupon rate is higher than YTM, the bond will be sold at a price higher than the face value. It means that bond will be sold at a premium. Okay. Bond investors cross their fingers that market interest rate will fall so that the price of their security will go up. However, if they are unlucky and interest rate jumps up, the value of their investment declines. A change in interest rate has only a modest impact on the value of near-term cash flows, but a much greater impact on the value of distant cash flows. Thus, the price of long-term bond is affected more by changing interest rates than the price of short-term bonds. As you can see, this blue line shows the relationship between bond prices and YTM, and a particular case of 30-year bond, whereas this yellow line shows the relationship between 3-year bond and the YTM. Although both are downward sloping, indicating an inverse relationship, you can see that this blue line is much steeper, indicating that the magnitude of change in bond prices for a given change in YTM is much higher compared to the magnitude of decline, magnitude of change in the bond prices for the given change in YTM in the case of 3-year bond. So the bottom line is there is an inverse relationship between interest rate and bond prices. So as an investor, if we invest in a bond and the market interest rate decreases, we can expect the bond prices to go up. So when we expect that market interest rate to decline, it's a good time to invest in a bond. And another point we need to remember that long-term bond is much more sensitive to interest rate changes than short-term bonds. So when interest rate is much more fluctuating, the long-term bond may not be a good investment because of the high risk associated with long-term bond. But in general, since long-term bond is more sensitive to interest rate changes, long-term bond is considered to be more risky compared to short-term bonds. So that's the end of our discussion on the relationship between bond prices and interest rates.